All right, good afternoon, everyone. It's Kinninigan. I feel a little better. I took an ibuprofen and ate some pasta and drank some coffee. So I didn't want to make this video feeling grumpy because we're going to get into some pretty dark things right now, and this is involving the plans for World War III. These now, I need you to understand that Luciferians always tell you what they're going to do before they do it. So before I get into this and start going over these, I'm going to explain to you what exactly is going on in Iran right now. This has all been planned. Um, then I'm going to read you this. This was posted on a 4chan forum about a year ago before any of these events actually happened. And yeah, this was the prediction on how they were going to do World War III. And there's a reason why I made that video about nuclear weapons being a hoax before I made this video. There's always a method to my madness. That's because this plan involved detonations of nukes, which I don't think is going to happen. But there is another weapon that we need to worry about that Russia has already said they have, and that is their tsunami bomb. They have a way to trigger tsunamis on coastal cities, and I'll show you that also. That's more realistic. And no, I am not anti-Semitic because I'm telling you right now, this plan also involves the destruction of Israel. So who's the anti-Semitic one? And this is going to be orchestrated by Zionists, obviously. And they can Zionists don't care about Jews. They don't care about Judaism. They don't care about any of the world religions, obviously. And but this all has to happen in the Middle East, and there's a reason for that, and that involves obviously because the end of the script is the destruction of the Dome of the Rock. That's where the third temple will be built, where the Antichrist will sit on the throne in the third temple, betray all the people on Earth, and you know what happens then? That we don't want to be in that spot. That's Armageddon. Yeah. And then finally, maybe Jesus comes back, but we don't even want to be in that situation to begin with. I'm telling you right now, if you didn't like the woke agenda they've been trying to push on people for the past 5 years, you are not going to like the New World Order. Yeah, there's been a few things they've been testing, and I think that they have. They're I think they're using AI models to run these plans to see how because certain things were not working out the way they thought. Originally, the plan was to have Hillary Clinton installed as president in 2016 to finish out Agenda 2020. The original agenda was Agenda 2024 with Hillary Clinton and her 8-year reign of terror ushering in the New World Order. But that didn't happen, and we got the MAGA savior Trump out of nowhere, and yeah, the rest is history. So, and they are following this guideline to the T. And the next one on the checklist here is, yeah, you sank my battleship. I think I put that in the title of this video. Actually, it's going to probably be a aircraft carrier, and I'll explain why. This is what I mean about they're adopting their plans because things are not working out. And people have already tried to expose this agenda. One person and his entire family were killed for it. And another TV show that aired, I'll show you that also, Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura. He covered up the plan to round up people in FEMA camps and execute us. And that TV show was banned from ever airing on TV again. However, if you sign up to my Patreon, that episode is on my Patreon. So I'll go over all this. So this started, yeah, of course this video has to be 33 seconds long. I'm sure the uploader made it 33 seconds on purpose. So this all started in 1991. And if you haven't noticed, the New World Order has been moving like Alabama's swamp water. It's not too many of you pesky Christians around. Yeah, like I said, that when people are onto your plan, that your plan at the end of the day is to kill 9 out of 10 people on Earth, have us living in smart cities, eating bugs on universal basic income. I think one of the reasons why this plan was leaked, logically, I think a lot of people, even high-level Freemason, they might be having second thoughts about wanting to go through with this when they realize, oh my God, these people really do want to kill 9 out of 10 people on Earth and usher in the Antichrist. Like this, I thought I was just joining a fraternity. Like, what are we doing here? This is why they don't let a lot of lower level people know the actual plans. So it's not a surprise that this got leaked online at 4chan, probably because someone who knows the plan is like, these crazy bastards are going to try to do it. This plan also involves the fake alien invasion. Um, we've been hearing about that one for years, so I'm going to go through this. Uh, please share, like, subscribe. I myself am trying to raise about $33 to get some catnip today. I do not monetize my videos, and let's hope I don't get kicked off YouTube for exposing too much of their plan here. So it started in 1991 with this infamous quote.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
The UN's founders. Who is that? Zionist. So immediately in 1991, I was a freshman in high school then. I remember the first Iraq War. It was all over TV. I would find out almost 35 years later that Saddam Hussein himself is a 33-degree Freemason. Then I found out Yasser Arafat, the leader of the Palestinian Authority, is a 33-degree Freemason. Then I started realizing things. This has all been planned, and these people don't care about sacrificing their own people. So that's when it started, the destabilization of the Middle East. It actually started before that. Russia was in there a while in Afghanistan, and obviously you know that they overthrew the Iranian regime back many years ago, and we instilled probably a Freemason puppet. Let's just call it what it is. So one of the parts of the plan is to get people divided in the United States and cause a civil war. You are currently in that phase of the operation right now. This is what the woke agenda was really meant for. This is why you have people fighting on YouTube right now about the Odyssey movie. I haven't watched it yet. Maybe tonight I will. Who knows? And as you haven't figured out, the war with Iran is not very popular in the United States right now. Now, there have been some predictions of what they were going to do, and I don't think even those plans would work out the way they wanted, so they readapted that plan. One of the original plans, I believe, was to, I can't say, I got to be careful what I say here. I don't want the Secret Service knocking on my door. And that involves POTUS. And there was an infamous episode of The Simpsons with POTUS, Trump laying in a coffin. That's because Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, is a 33-degree Freemason also, and he put a lot of symbolism in The Simpsons TV show, including 9/11 before it happened. 9/11 was also predicted in the movie Back to the Future Part 2. That's how many years they've been planning this. And that came out right before 1991 when he predicted the New World Order. I remember George Bush Sr., not a good person, founder of Skull and Bones. I believe his wife was actually played by Aleister Crowley in drag. And I was told by a ex-Freemason sub on my channel, Ken, I think you're right about that one. And how did he live so long? Well, he was probably using transeugathia magic, sucking the innocence out of small children for immortality. That is the royal secret in their secret societies. This is what was going on at Epstein Island. It's referred to as transeugathia magic. So we had that predict. And so they tell you what they're going to do right before they do it. Remember, the Federal Reserve, when they were founded and they gave us fiat paper money, What's written on your fiat notes? Novo Order Seclorum. That's New World Order in Latin. It's also letting you know that Rome is still ruling the world. Rome is basically Babylon incarnate. That's what Rome is. So where do I start here? All right. First of all, the plans to round people up and have a civil war and round people up in the FEMA camps. Now, and then I will go through this list and explain to you. Now, this first started. The first one to expose this, and this is on my Patreon. So if you sign up there, and there's a lot of things on my Patreon. Oh, Larry Lou, hello Larry. Yeah, it's things I can't put. Oh shit, I shouldn't have shown you that one. There's a secret documentary on here. Just saying. If you want to watch it, but yeah, I got a picture of Barack Obama and George Clooney on a speedboat in the Caribbean with a 6-year-old Vietnamese girl. I have a Babylonian Grinmore on here. Jennifer Aniston's micro penis. Taylor Swift. Yeah, a bunch of lady boys. The Pizzagate Massacre. That's when they mocked Pizzagate in 2020. They actually came out with a movie, and at the end of the movie, it was reptilians that were responsible for it. Bohemian Grove leaked video for 2024. The fake Joe Biden and his. I called out his fake signature before anyone did. This is all Luciferian deception. This is why they're doing this. There is a reason for this. Tucker Carlson, before I knew he was a Freemason, and now I don't trust him anymore. He already admitted that he knew in 2020 that the election was stolen. I got some Jim Henson movies on here. So, yeah, and with this episode that Jesse Ventura put out was the plan to round people up in FEMA camps. And he went around. True TV banned this episode from ever being aired on TV again. Season 2, Episode 4, The Police State Conspiracy. The plot thickens. In 2017, a director by the name, the producer of this, there was going to be a movie made called A Gray State, which was going to be a movie that was going to show the plan to round up American dissidents and execute them at these FEMA camps. The guy who was producing this movie allegedly committed suicide and murdered his entire family shortly after the trailer dropped. The original trailer has been deleted off YouTube. They made it look like a murder-suicide, that he killed his whole family and then took his own life. Yeah, how convenient. And here is one of the things I'm showing you. So this video is on YouTube. This is a Gray State trailer number 1, where they were going over the concept of the movie. But do you notice something? This guy here is one of the executioners at the FEMA camp. And look, he has a Freemason apron on. Anyone know what blood libel is? It's not an anti-Semitic conspiracy. It's not even a Jewish conspiracy. It is the idea that you can get high off the blood of Christians. And who do you think they plan on executing at said FEMA camps? Specifically Catholics, like me. So yeah, I do take offense to this. And yeah, I'm sure that this guy showing off an executioner at Camp FEMA wearing a Masonic apron didn't go over too well with the elite. Sadly, yeah, this trailer came out in 2017. I covered this, but I lost multiple YouTube channels, obviously, so I don't have those videos anymore. But yeah, a lot of us covered this, and we were all told that we were crazy. And yeah, who's here in 2026? I am. And you can see the comments on this video. Yeah, they offed him and his whole family. He was trying to warn us. This is what they're doing, dividing people in the United States right now. And this is why I keep telling you that you have content creators, even here on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, whatever platform they're on, that are trying to get people divided. They're talking about bullshit like the woke agenda and trying to get left versus right. And this is what they want. They want the people divided. They want to cause a civil war in the United States to usher in their favorite Greek god known as chaos, so they can start rounding people up. And we even know how they're going to execute people. They're going to do it with guillotines. They're not going to shoot us because they want to be able to harvest our organs, harvest blood for adrenochrome. Adrenochrome is created when your adrenaline gets pumping, and I'm pretty sure if you're headed towards a guillotine, your adrenaline is going to go up. And they want to behead people because they want to do the organ harvesting. And yes, in a sick way also, human cannibalism. What do you think they're going to be feeding those 500,000 people that are left over when they get their New World Order? Yeah. Human meat is one of the most vile sins. Cannibalism is actually spoken against. And this is why they want their. Like I said, if you thought the woke agenda was bad, you have no idea what you're in for. So, sadly, the guy who was, off his. He was murdered. And they banned Jesse. And so, if there's no truth to this, why are they murdering movie producers trying to expose this? Why was Jesse Ventura's TV show about rounding people up and putting them in FEMA camps? This is called Rex 84. And they've even had to push their New World Order agenda. Originally, with Hillary Clinton, it was going to be Agenda 2024. Then it moved up to Agenda 2030 because the timeline wasn't working out. They realized too many people were catching on to the bullshit. And this inconvenient thing known as the internet, where they can't carry out false flag operations as easily as they did before. Look at the Charlie Kirk situation. People were already ripping that apart before the mainstream media even had their talking points. This is why they infiltrated the alternative media. Hello, David Icke. Yeah, he's not the only one. A lot of your alternative media people here on YouTube are they're not your friends. Let's just say that. So anyway, now who is running the war in Iran right now? Britain. Yeah, who'd have thought? Wasn't hard for me to figure out. Yeah, it's Britain and the royal family. What is this? This is Lloyd's of London. This is the insurance company that provides the insurance on all the oil tankers moving through the Strait of Hormuz. So if you don't have insurance on your oil tanker, you are not moving through the strait. Period. This is how the world. This goes into like British maritime law, and also like police officers. They all carry insurance. Judges have insurance. You can't operate anything without insurance. That's how it works. So they're the ones who actually dropped all the insurance on the oil tankers, and that's why they were stuck in the Strait of Hormuz. However, it's not just about crashing the petrodollar, and it's not really about oil. What people don't understand is what I was just talking about with human cannibalism. This is to engineer famines because it's more about the fertilizer that's not going out of the Gulf right now that is eventually going to hurt our food supply. And if you don't know anything about humans, after about a week or two without food, things get bad. Bad enough where, in some cases, humans will resort to cannibalism, sadly, because you can only go a certain amount of days without food before people will start revolting in the streets with pitchforks and torches. Again, and the engineering of this through the years, they've been doing it. What do you think all the gun control bullshit was about? They don't want people armed when this happens. Obviously, they don't want you to be able to defend yourself. They want to get rid of all the alpha males in this country. Why do you think they're trying to feminize military age fighting men? Yeah, there's an agenda behind this. But the plot thickens. Right here on Lloyd's own website, you can't make this shit up. Look what they have here. Oh my. Launch of new Marine War Risk Consortium to support Strait of Hormuz shipping. They're telling you right on their website, we control the flow of boats through the Strait of Hormuz. They tell you what they're going to do right to your face. You just got to learn how to read through the symbolism. Take the rose-colored glasses off. And Lloyd's of London is a very powerful insurance agency. Yes, based out of London, England. Londinium, going back to the Roman Empire, which is ultimately run by, the Illuminati and the royal family. So that's who's controlling the flow of, it isn't the naval blockade, or that's all bullshit. It's the insurance that they put on these ships. So, now I got to go back to, this actually was started in August 15th, 1871. the plan to usher in the Antichrist. So if you don't think that these people tell you what they're going to do before they do it, a lot of people through the years have tried to say that this letter was fake and it was fake bullshit. It's not fake news because World War One and World War Two happened exactly as Albert Pike predicted. World War One was more about setting up the communist state and the czars, the Khazarian mafia in Russia, and the Bolsheviks. World War Two was to set up the political state or the Zionist state of Israel. What does the Third World War involve? Well, this is what I mean about you might not want to call me anti-Semitic because it actually involves the destruction of Israel. So who is the anti-Semitic one? The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agitator of the Illuminati. Who used the word Illuminati in 1871? Yeah, nobody. The first person I ever heard use it was Jordan Maxwell over 20 years ago. Illuminati, if you notice too, they've been desensitizing people with that word. Between the political Zionists, yeah, they're not real Jews, and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. How did he know the state of Israel was going to exist in 1871? Gee, yeah, you might want to pay attention. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided in this issue, will be constrained to fight the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provide a formidable social cataclysm which, in all of its horror, will show clearly to the nations of the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity. Like I said, you pesky Christians are holding up progress for the Antichrist. God forbid, right? Whose deitist spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in the public view. That is ushering in of the Antichrist. Period. So, so here's the plan, and this was leaked on 4chan, June 22nd, 2025. I need you to remember that because that's before any of these events actually happened. So the first event, remember the 12-day war with Iran a while back? Israel breaks ceasefire and strikes Iran. That happened already. Trump responds with B-2 bunker busters on nuclear sites. That was Operation Midnight Hammer, that we supposedly took out their nuclear weapons. Remember? This is why I made the fake nuke video earlier. Because allegedly in 2 weeks they were getting a nuclear bomb. Yeah, whatever. The next step, Iran hits all Gulf oil fields and U.S. bases. Blocks Hormuz and Bab-e-Mandeb. It wasn't actually Iran who blocked the Strait of Hormuz, as I showed you. It was Lloyd's of London. That happened also. Oil prices skyrocket, blackouts in Africa and the third world. That is happening right now. Yes, there's going to be massive energy shortages around the world because people are not getting oil. But again, it's also to, like I said, cause famines, which is going to come up later in the plan. U.S. sends 3 aircraft carriers. We already did that. This is the next step of the plan. At least 2 sunk by Iran, Russia, and China using suicide tactics. Meaning they're probably going to put explosives on a speedboat, and they'll have to do it with a few boats because if you know about how modern Navy ships are built, it's very hard to sink one, even if you breach it with a torpedo, because they can close off sections of the ship to prevent it from flooding. However, if you hit it with multiple explosives at one time, that that's going to be a little harder. But and with an event like this, they're like 9/11, they're going to allow it to happen. Now, why are they going to do this? One, they can't carry out a false flag attack within the United States and blame it on Iran. No one's going to buy that bullshit. Look what happened with Charlie Kirk. They were testing the waters with things. Who did people blame on Charlie Kirk's death? Israel. Who did people blame for running Epstein Island? Israel. And sadly, their other plan was what I was talking about with POTUS. I don't think that would work out the way they thought. Maybe this is what those assassination attempts on Trump were supposed to do. And they didn't get the reaction. Let's just say they didn't get the reaction that JFK got when he was assassinated. So I think they had to back off that plan because they're like, if we try to do that, I don't think it's not gonna work out, the way we thought, and that's because of the anti-Trump propaganda they were putting out for a while. Kind of backfired on them, huh? Trump derangement syndrome saved the day. So they're not gonna try that. So, but they're losing a lot of support within our own military. So how do you get Marines and people in the Army and Navy and everyone back on board for attacking Iran? You sink an aircraft carrier with 5,000 sailors on it, because that will get troops pretty thirsty for blood. It makes sense. After they sink the aircraft carrier or carriers, it says two are sunk in this. The U.S. will then try an amphibious invasion. The first one is going to fail with massive casualties, like what happened on D-Day in World War II. Then they're going to have a second ground invasion, which will succeed. Oil fields will be seized, and the advance halts. At that time is when the U.S. Civil War will begin. An anti-war bloc takes over Washington, D.C. with military support. And that's going to be in response to the massive casualties they take in Iran, the unpopular war with Iran, and that's when civil war will break out. It says the U.S. splits in two and retreats from the Middle East. Yeah, we will be divided in the United States if that happens. And this is why, like, Netanyahu is bringing up Turkey, wanting to reinstate the Ottoman Empire all of a sudden. Because the next step after that plan is Turkey betrays NATO, joins the Russia-Iran-China alliance, and then attacks Israel. Like I said, who are the real anti-Semitic ones here? At that time, China will invade Taiwan and Guam. North Korea will invade South Korea. Japan fails to stop it. India possibly flips sides. Now remember, China and India are not using their munitions right now. The United States is depleting our ballistic missiles, obviously. This is done by design. Russia invades Poland and the Baltics, links to Kaliningrad. Finland and NATO invade Russia, take St. Petersburg. Europe collapses into riots, famine, and civil wars, while when America collapses, the rest of the world's going to follow. Latin America allies with China and Russia. U.S. invaded from the south. That'll be through Mexico. Advance stops at Colorado. Now here's the part of the plan which I don't think is actually going to be as they predicted, but I'm going to show you what is possibly going to be happening and more realistic, and it is pretty damn scary. It's probably just as scary as a nuclear weapon when I show you what it is actually. 50 to 100 tactical nukes used in high atmosphere. I don't think that part of the plan is going to happen. SAR bomb and 2 strategic nukes used in Europe. Israel destroyed. Palestinians wiped out with it. Air travel ends, crime and chaos everywhere. Now, at this part of the plan, they're going to cut the internet. There's no way, as they start escalating this, they're going to allow people like us, us pesky conspiracy theorists telling you their plans. Because, like I said, how fast we can deconstruct false flag operations anymore. They need to cut the internet, and they will. 3 weeks of nuclear events. It might not be nuclear events, but I'll show you what they do have planned. And Russia already told you what they were going to do. I'll show you that in a second. Fake alien invasion begins. Yeah, the aliens coming in to save Earth, but these are not going to be aliens. They're going to be demons. And that falls in line with the Bible and the book of Revelation. MJ-12 releases synthetic alien soldiers. PLFs hunt survivors. FEMA camps classify people as useful or undesirables. Yeah, if you're Catholic, if you're Christian, you're getting beheaded. By 2027, 5 billion people are dead. That's where I think a lot of people high up in the ladder are getting cold feet about this when they realize the reality of this plan. Like, how could you kill 5 billion people and have that on your conscience all day? Yeah, think about that one. Fake aliens defeated with the help of real ones. One world government under MJ-12 in the UN. That was George Bush Sr. right at the beginning of this video. The New World Order. And the next step is the Dome of the Rock in Israel in Jerusalem is destroyed, and they rebuild the third temple, and the Antichrist arrives. So about the nuclear weapons, what does Russia have? Well, Putin's Poseidon. Remember I was telling you about the Greek gods, how they like invoking all the names of quote-unquote Greek gods? That's going to be their pantheon when they bring in the New World Order. They're going to go back to the Greek pantheon. Putin's Poseidon and the radioactive tidal wave of death. Now, it might not be a radioactive tidal wave, but it doesn't need to be. Russia has this weapon, and they've already disclosed it. And this is a video here of Russia explaining how they're going to take Britain out with a tsunami. Now, it's in Russian, but basically what this Poseidon bomb is, it's a massive underwater detonation they do on a tectonic plate, and they cause an earthquake under the ocean, right near a coastal city, and they trigger a tsunami. They've already tested this weapon at Fukushima, Japan. It's kind of sad. I feel bad for Japanese people. They seem to be the testing site for weapons, like in World War II, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and then later on, that was 2012, I believe, with Fukushima. Yeah, they tested the underwater Poseidon bomb at Fukushima. And it was a radioactive wave of death because they remember the nuclear power plant went down. Yeah, they've already tested this weapon. So for people on the East Coast and California, yeah, how convenient is it that our largest population centers in the United States are coastal cities? You don't think that was by design? So New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, the entire state of Florida, you're at sea level down there. All the major East Coast cities and then the West Coast cities, Seattle, Portland, Los Angeles, San Francisco. They're probably going to be hit with these quote-unquote tsunami weapons. And then the other cities that aren't coastal cities, they will burn down with direct energy weapons. Blame it on nukes. I mean, like I said, they're going to cut the internet around that time, so no one's going to be able to fact check anything. No one's going to be able to communicate or know what's going on. It'll be because that's going to be one of the most important things they're going to do. Yeah, is obviously cut down communication between people. So Russia has already admitted that they own this weapon. I'm pretty damn sure we have it too. Why wouldn't we? Like I said, they tell you what they're going to do before they even do it. And so, in the next coming days, if that event happens, if a U.S. aircraft carrier gets sunk in the Middle East, yeah, we need to get this out because if we expose what they plan to do, they might back off doing it. Because there's been a few things that, like I said, they backed off already. False flag attack within the United States. Anything happening to POTUS, obviously. Because that wouldn't work out the way they want. I think you know what I mean by that one. So, in order to get support of Americans and the U.S. military, who they are losing support from, I've been watching videos of soldiers speaking their mind about this. They do not want to go to war with Iran. They know it's a war for... Now, they're selling it as a war for Israel. This ain't for Israel. This is for the Antichrist and the New World Order. They don't give a fuck about Israel. They're all on the same team. Like George Carlin said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. And this has cost some people their lives trying to expose this. Like I said, it probably wasn't a good idea for the producers of the Gray State movie to show a female executioner with a Masonic apron on. I don't think that went over too well. Albert Pike already told you what their plans are in this letter here, the plan for 3 world wars. He knew about the creation of Israel and the destruction of Israel. Interesting. And of course, you can watch this conspiracy, the police state conspiracy, on my Patreon.
And the Justice Department set them
This
up
was
in
banned off
cities
every
around the
area on
country.
Pulp TV again.
Command centers.
There are FEMA camps all around the United States, and Jesse Ventura goes and visits a couple of them. And we had rumors back when Obama was president that the deep state already ordered thousands of guillotines for these places because they want to behead people for organ harvesting, adrenochrome harvesting, and yes, human cannibalism. That's why they want to behead people. And don't worry, Obama. In the New World Order, pedophilia is going to be allowed. That'll be normalized. And this is how the Luciferian doctrine works. This is why you have people like Larry Loomer, Hakachiniking on, that's Yiddish. Yeah, another Ashkenazi Jew. Someone left a comment on here. All that surgery and he didn't fix his Khazar nose. I know, right? He didn't get. Bro, you should have had the nose done first. But oh well. He wanted his fake man boobs. He got his titties. I'm not gonna name it. Anyway, so yeah, you can sign up to my Patreon and my locals. All these are on there. And this is the plan. So they need an event to happen to escalate this war. We all know that it's not popular right now. Fox News and the other mainstream media news stations have been pushing out massive Iran war propaganda in the past 2 days. So sadly, I think something's going to happen soon. Sadly. So pray for the safety of our sailors. They're not against sacrificing their own to push an agenda. Just like Israel killed their own people on October 7th. Yeah, a lot of the Israelis were killed by the IDF on October 7th, if you didn't know about that. Israel, we know they have something called the Hannibal Directive, where they can justify killing Jewish people to promote the Zionist agenda. And that was their precursor for justifying the genocide in Palestine. And now the genocide they're trying to carry out in Lebanon. Oh, and specifically in Lebanon, they're targeting Christians. Yeah, who'd have thought? So yeah, that's the plan for World War III. These people are psychopaths. There is no dealing with these people. And if you try to confront them about their plans, they'll just call you a liar, conspiracy theorist, it's fake news, it's this. Yeah, bullshit. So anyway, is George Bush going to get his New World Order? I don't think so. Well, we could try to
have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order.
Yeah, New World Order. Reptilian worship in plain sight, and everyone reverting back to paganism. Why don't you call it what it is? It isn't a New World Order. It's the Old World Order. Nothing new about it. Anyway, there's my 3 videos today. Want to support my channel? Cash App, PayPal, Vemno is all in the description. You can watch those other videos on my Patreon if you sign up. $1 a month gets you access to everything I have on Patreon. I don't put things behind different tier levels of support. So you can sign up for $1 a month, or you can support me with $50 a month either. But everyone has the same access at Patreon. Or you could even or anything like that. So yeah, Leo season is here. I'm only just beginning. You want to make an omelet, you got to crack a few dragon eggs. Yeah, I'm only just beginning. Starting to harness that Leo energy. Don't worry though. I don't want to make. I don't like doing fear porn and all doom and gloom, which is why probably tomorrow I'm going to do the lecture about Atlantis. And I promised that to a sub on my channel who supported me with $33. I appreciate it. That was last week, a few days ago. It wasn't last week. It wasn't that long ago. But I told him, I said, yeah, he asked me what I knew about the Azores. Yeah, that's where ancient Atlantis used to be. And I'm going to make a video about, in my own theory, what I believe Atlantis actually was, with some mind-blowing things that have been found around the world, including the infamous crystal pyramid that's in the Bahamas, underwater. Yeah, there's a pyramid made out of solid crystal in the Caribbean. And anyway, I can't find the comment. It's on here. So yeah, that's actually maybe I'll go on video for that lecture. Maybe we'll see. I'll, should I hook my video camera up tomorrow when I give the lecture about Atlantis? Yeah, why not? Uh, I was only messing with you, Kalina. If I really wanted to bother her, I have her cell phone number. I could just call her. Few of my subs have my cell phone number, believe it or not. Quite a few of them do. Yeah, people tell me conversations on the phone with me are always fun. Now, what I was doing was, she knows, she sent me a song a few weeks back, and it was like an urban house music song, and I found other music that was like in the same kind of tempo, and I was a very good DJ, and I sent her a couple songs. I said, here, listen to these. I said, I could put all these songs together and make an urban house music set, and she's like, wow, these are like, and I was like, yeah, I could probably get a lot of the young people. I made a joke. I'm about to come out of retirement as a DJ. Wipe the dust off my DJ mixer. Come out of retirement. Depends what mood I'm in. Last night I felt like listening to house music. Some nights I listen to James Brown. Sometimes it's Mozart. Sometimes I listen to freestyle music. Other nights it'll be Pantera and heavy metal. I listen to all music. Yeah, it's complicated. People ask, what kind of music do you like? It's complicated. Depends what mood I'm in. And my mood changes a lot. Probably from being a Leo. And let's see. We're gonna do a video lecture about Atlantis tomorrow. Um, another thing, another sub asked me about my cats. You just want a Macy and Dougal video? I'll get them little fur balls on video. Yeah, well, I'll get them both up here and dump some catnip out for them. That always works because if I dump catnip out, I can get them on video because then they'll start rolling around and playing in the catnip. So yeah, maybe we'll do one of those videos. I'll get them on video. Don't worry. Any questions or comments, leave them below. Let's hope that they don't try to pull this plan off because it's not looking good. But remember, these idiots always tell us what they're going to do before they actually do it. And if there wasn't any truth to the Rex 84 and FEMA things, like I said, the Gray State movie and the police state conspiracy from Jesse Ventura, why did they freak out over these if there wasn't truth to this? Anyway, any questions or comments, leave them below. God bless and take care.